My mama told me when I was young, we are all one superstar.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everyone, to this Ask With Forum. I'm Kathleen McCartney, Dean of the Harvard Graduate School of Education. Thank you. Thank you so much. We are thrilled to be hosting this special event in collaboration with our colleagues from the Berkman Center for Internet and Society, the MacArthur Foundation, and the California Endowment. And I want to give a special welcome to the high school student leaders right here from Cambridge, Boston, California, and beyond. So last fall, we invited Lady Gaga to give a talk at Harvard because she's been a passionate spokesperson about the importance of creating caring communities in schools and beyond. At the time, we had no idea that she was planning to empower youth and to encourage bravery. We are so proud she has chosen to launch her foundation today at Harvard. Lady Gaga has already inspired countless young people to embrace individuality. Through the Born This Way Foundation, she is poised to do so much more. All of us who care about young people are fortunate to have Lady Gaga getting us on the right track, right? Right. And we're so pleased that she is accompanied by some special guests. Introducing one of those guests is Drew Gilpin Faust, the 28th president of Harvard University and the Lincoln Professor of History. A renowned scholar of the Civil War and the American South, she is the author of 6 books, including the bestseller, This Republic of Suffering. President Faust has said that universities nurture the hopes of the world. She's worked tirelessly to bring the intellectual resources of Harvard to bear on society's greatest challenges, including education and human rights. Please join me in welcoming President Drew Gilpin Faust.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dean McCartney. The reason we are all here today and the reason that Harvard was chosen as the site for the launch of the Born This Way Foundation is because of work that you and the Graduate School of Education have done to combat bullying. Kathy, you are certainly the embodiment of that all-important principle. Don't be a drag, just be a dean. I'm so very proud and grateful. I'm also proud that we are able to welcome today 3 remarkable women. 3 women who are consistently near the top of every list of the world's most powerful, the world's most influential. What a banner day for Harvard to have all 3 here in Sanders Theater, combining their power, directing their influence to advance, as the Born This Way Foundation puts it, kindness, bravery, acceptance, and empowerment. Secretary Sebelius, Oprah Winfrey, Lady Gaga. I said the word. We are honored to join with you in proclaiming to the world that it gets better and to commit ourselves to ensure that it is so. Now, my actual assignment is to introduce one of these extraordinary women. It is a very special privilege to welcome her to this university because her life and her work have been dedicated to education. As actress, as TV host supreme, as philanthropist, as cultural icon, she has asked us to look within ourselves and to learn to do and to be better. She's challenged us to turn to books, to understand and to empathize with people beyond ourselves. She has lived a life that has taught us that any dream can be possible. We are all superstars. She has modeled for the world the bravery, kindness, acceptance, and empowerment that she comes here to further today. Ladies and gentlemen, Oprah Winfrey.
Oh my. Oh my. What can I say? I know what I can say. Harvard! Thank you, Harvard University. Thank you, Dean Faust. Thank you so much, Dean McCartney, Madam Secretary Sebelius. Thank you all. My friend Skip Gates, where are you? Professor Gates? Hello. I'm at your house. Yes. It is, you know, every time people get up and speak that you often hear them say, it is such a privilege. It really is joyful for me to be here. I don't go out a lot, and I only show up when I think that I can be of service and that service can be of value. I am here because I believe that every human being who comes to the planet comes with the inherent and divine right to be himself and herself. Every human being. And what is so exciting to me is that today, gathered on this beautiful campus, made even more beautiful by the snow, looks like a movie out there, what is exciting to me is that thought leaders have gathered together as one force to come and ask ourselves, why does bullying and violence and hatred against young people continue in our society, and what can we do about it? Good people today are joining forces to become a force for something good and powerful, so that every human being born his way or her way will be able to fulfill the highest expression of themselves as a human being. That's what we all are here to do, to fulfill the highest expression of ourselves as human beings. And I believe that each of us comes with a gift, our own, to share, to use our lives to connect with other people. I've talked to tens of thousands, exactly 4,350 to be exact, interviews with people from all walks of life and circumstances and all manners of difficulties. And in the 25 years of interviewing on the Oprah show and the 10 years of interviewing before that, I can tell you that every single person I've ever talked to, whether they were victims of violence or the person who committed the violence, whether they were celebrities or whether they were going through difficult times in their life. When I finished the interview, almost to a person, at some point, one would lean into me and say, "Was that okay? Was that okay? Was I all right?" Even Beyonce and all her Beyonce-ness. At the end of a performance where she was as Beyonce as you could get, leaned in and said, "Was that okay?" And what I learned in all those thousands of interviews is that there's a common denominator in the human experience that we all share. We all want to know that what we do and what we say and who we are matters. We want to be validated. Every single person in every single confrontation, every single encounter that you have, whether it's with the guy at the supermarket or in the toll booth or your boss or your children, every argument is really about, do you see me? Do you see me? Does what I say mean anything to you? Do I matter to you? I was recently with the great Gloria Steinem, another world changer, who said that sometimes the only way you can get attention to a problem is to freak people out. Break the forum. Break the form, she said. You have to stop playing the game in order to change the content. Lady Gaga. I'll just let you take that in. Lady Gaga, with her music, with her message, and her own story, is breaking the form, and she is changing consciousness. She says that she wasn't put on earth just to sing songs. Her passion is to be that force for good. The Born This Way Foundation is in alignment with so many of my core beliefs: kindness, compassion, empowerment, acceptance. And she is one of the most influential forces of our time today. Ladies and gentlemen, Lady Gaga!
One thing to say before we get started. We got Oprah.
No, I tell you what is so impressive to me is that you got Harvard.
Oh,
You got Harvard. How does this happen? How did it happen? Do you just call up Harvard and say, look, I'd like to come over and announce my foundation? How did that happen?
they have phones
They
here.
have phones.
You know, first of all, thank you. Thank you from all of us, from my entire team, from my mother, who you will meet shortly, from the bottom of the hearts of so many people who believe in what we're doing today. In terms of Harvard, what I would like to say is that it's surprising how many people really want to bring humankind together to do great things. And sometimes people say, how hard is it to change the world? And I say, not that hard. Not that hard. So thank you so much to Harvard. Thank you to everyone that's here. We are just, this might be one of the best days of my life.
So, we all know, the world certainly knows that you are known for inspiring and creative ideas. I would like to know how the idea for this foundation was born. Was a song born first, and then you decided that because of what that song represented, who you represented, you wanted to take that further? How did this come about?
Well, the song Born This Way arose out of a dialogue that existed between myself and my fans. And after I wrote the song and after I put the album out, the conversation ignited even further. There was such a tremendous dialogue immediately between myself, the fans, between the fans, meeting them backstage, meeting them outside hotels. I was sent letters, emails, messages, Twitter.
Saying what?
Saying, I want to help. I want to be brave. I want there to be more tolerance in the universe. I want there to be more acceptance. And what I realized more than anything was that I never wanted this dialogue to end. And I thought, how can I keep this conversation going? And how can I do the research and become an expert in this field so that I can genuinely have an impact on empowering young people?
And the 3 pillars are bravery, acceptance, and love.
Well, those are the. I'm like, well, those are 3 important aspects
Yes.
of the foundation. But the 3 pillars are SSO, and if you could remember these things today, it would make me very, very, very happy. It's safety, skills, and opportunity.
SSO.
SSO. Number 1, I want everyone to feel safe in their community. School, home, whatever city you live in. 2, developing the skills that are needed to be a loving, accepting, and tolerant person, and to also inject that sentiment into all the people around you, being a supportive human being. And the 3rd is opportunity. I believe once you feel safe in your environment and you acquire the skills to be a loving and accepting person, the opportunities for you are endless to become a great functioning human in society.
You know, when I met you backstage, one of the things I said, one of the reasons I wanted to be here is because I've been a reporter since I was your age, 19 years old, and I remember when Mothers Against Drunk Driving started. I remember when, as a young reporter, I would go out on the street and I would cover people in accidents and from drunk driving, and it had to become exponentially so many people before people started to pay attention. So I remember, we all do, remember the anti-smoking movement. And so I felt when I started to read about what you were trying to do, what you're creating is not just a foundation, but a movement. And literally, by speaking out today, it's a shift that you want to happen, a shift in the way people think about bullying.
Yes, I'm not here today to give you an answer, and I'm not here to tell you I can solve these problems. This is about transformative change in culture over a period of time. One of the most important things I wanted to share with all of you today, as it's no secret that I speak out against bullying. This is not an anti-bullying foundation. This is a youth empowerment foundation. This is about changing the climate of the school environment and not putting the power in the hands of the teachers or the government. It is about the bubble effect. I don't believe that they have the answers. I believe that you do.
So you're going to take the Born This Way bus around?
Yes. Well, this is a very exciting thing that we have to talk about today. There is a bus now called the Born Brave bus, and there's some amazing, amazing students here. So the Born Brave bus is essentially a bus that is going to travel and follow my tour bus around the country, and it will welcome anyone from any walk of life, whether you have a ticket to the show or you don't, to come and hang out and talk about love, acceptance, kindness, and so forth. And the best thing about it is it's going to be fun. It's going to be essentially a tailgate. Bring your cars, put your cars all around the bus, and the thing I want to impress upon you the most is this is not about saying, I need help. But if you do, you can come and say, I need help. But what I want to tell you is, if you want to help someone else, if you want to be that person that believes in somebody else, if you want to be involved in your community, you can come and say, hey, what's up? I want to help.
Was there one particular incident that inspired you to do this? I know you received many letters, you heard many stories.
You know, besides all of the letters and the stories, my mother. My mother really inspires me because she always talked about giving back, even since I was very, very young. And the more that I got to know my fans, the more that I realized that not everybody has that support system at home. And I thought about the nuclear family. I thought about how important that is in my life, and I thought about how can we create a place, the Born This Way Foundation, a place where the nuclear family means more than one thing. Your family can be anywhere. It can be the person that is sitting right next to you.
And so you and your mother decided that you wanted to do this.
Yes, my mother and I decided we wanted to do this together, and the most important thing to us is that we did our research. You know, we've been working with Dr. Washington for a while, who's amazing, and I have been watching documentaries, reading pamphlets, learning about all of the panelists that are here today, finding the right panelists, creating a repertoire. I really wanted to do this properly because the last thing that I wanted to do was raise a bunch of money and send it to some place that none of you know about. I want this to be an organization where you all feel involved, that when you give back, and you give back through us, you know exactly where it's going and you know how it's changing.
At the end of the day today, when everybody leaves, when the news stories are written and the stories are said about what happened here today, what do you want to happen at the end of today? And then in a year from now, what do you want to have seen occur with the Born This Way Foundation?
The best thing that could happen today is if every single person in this room just told one human being that's not here about everything that we talked about. It's all about spreading the message. The culture of love is not going to change overnight. So we have to start it slowly, but you are the answer. And know that. Know that and go home and take with you that you are the future.
And one of the things we were saying is that we all understand, just like with the women's movement, the civil rights movement, and now this movement, you can't make laws to make people change.
No, you can't. And that's actually something else I really wanted to discuss today, and we'll get into that further once the panelists come out. There's a misconception I had a misconception about the federal laws and the state laws. I thought, oh, why can't we just pass a law? But the truth is you can't. Education is something that is done state by state. If there's no federal law that can change these problems. And even on a state level, it is very, very difficult to enforce any kind of curriculum. The only way to solve the problem is by changing the environment of each community. And what I would really love, to get back to your other question, a year from now, I would love for there to be these pockets of communities all over the country where there are youths empowered from each school and each sector, like you guys.
Because don't you want, I know you're doing the Born Great bus. Not everybody can follow you and be around the country wherever you are.
Yes.
So don't you want within their own schools and their own communities to develop their own ideas
Yes.
for how that they can be a part of this movement?
Yes, many of the experts that I have met with today, as well as the work that I've been doing over the past year with my mom and Dr. Washington, have been about how we can all come together. This is not a singular foundation that we're doing what we're doing and everyone else is doing what they're doing. I want everyone to know that they are welcome to work with us, to bring forth their ideas, their expertise, and truthfully, what would be really wonderful is if every school around the country had at least one person in it that was making the school a safer place to be.
I know that you feel energized, stimulated, turned on by your music. Being able to give back in this way, taking what had happened to you as a child and using it as a force for something powerful, that makes you feel what today, sitting here in this seat at Harvard?
You know, at the risk of sounding sort of ridiculous, I really don't relate the two. Even though the experiences that I went through challenged me so much, and truthfully, for anyone here that's had a rough time in school, it really doesn't go away. It's something that sort of sits there and you can work on it, but it doesn't really ever leave you. For whatever reason, feeling empowered to change is it's completely separate from my music. It's completely separate from the woman that I am on stage. It's completely separate from even the woman that I am when I'm at the dinner table with my father. For whatever reason, when someone says Born This Way Foundation, I acquire in my mind a superhuman power that I want to do the best thing that I can do to make your community the best place for you. And what I've learned is that I cannot do it by myself, and nobody can. You have to do it for you.
Would you like to introduce your mama?
Yes. I would like to thank you, first of all, so much. You know, every day I learn more and more about Oprah, because just when you think you know everything about her, you learn so much more. And your life story, your achievements, the effect you had on the world, I can't tell you. Like my mother and I were welling up with tears listening to you speak, because this in itself was an achievement for us to know that you cared about what we care about. So thank you so much for being here. So I would like to introduce to you the woman who made me who I am today. She is who I steal all my style tips from. She's the most kind-hearted, loving, beautiful person, and I say that really with no hyperbole, because I quite often think I see a halo around my mother's head when she walks around. She is the sole reason that I am here today. She has always believed in me, she has always been my supporter, and she makes me want to inject that sense of family and support into the world. So ladies and gentlemen, this is my mother, Cynthia.
Thank you to my darling daughter for that wonderful introduction. I appreciate it. And thank you so much, everyone, for being here with us today. It means so much to us. It is snowing outside and it is beautiful outside, but it is sunny inside, and it is even more beautiful inside because we're launching the foundation. And the youth that are here today, the youth that are listening, you are the leaders of our future. And we are so thrilled to have you here with us to celebrate this wonderful occasion. It just means so much. I don't want to take much time. I just want to thank everyone for being here. And now it is my great honor to introduce the Honorable Professor Charles Ogletree, who will be presiding over the testimony that you will hear this afternoon. I also, very briefly, I want to thank Harvard so much for having us in this wonderful institution, in this incredible Sanders Hall, to celebrate this occasion. The Berkman Center here for Internet and Society has been a beacon of light for us in terms of guiding us and grounding our work and our foundation in tremendous amount of research. We appreciate that very much. I'd like to thank Dean Kathy McCartney. It started with she and I basically having a discussion about maybe having a little event here, at Harvard, and it turned into this. And I sincerely want to thank Miss Oprah Winfrey for believing in us and for being part of this launch. So with that, the Honorable Professor Charles Ogletree.
Oh,
How are you?
thank you very much.
Such a pleasure. Good evening. It's such an honor to be here today at this historic event with the great Oprah Winfrey and with Lady Gaga and her mother as well. And I have 5 terrific people who are going to be asking questions in a court-type setting of Lady Gaga. She's going to be on trial. She needs many lawyers. But if she doesn't have any, I think she'll do very well herself. Let me first introduce the great panelists coming here today. First, I want to introduce the Secretary of Health and Human Services for the United States of America, Kathleen Sebelius.
How are you? Thank you. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Very pleased to have with us today the great spiritual leader and a great scholar. Please welcome Dr. Deepak Chopra. We're very pleased to have someone who represents what this is all about, a young woman who's done an incredible job. She's very shy, very nervous. Show her some love. Please welcome Alyssa Rodemeyer. And to give us some of the sense of the psychological impact of all this talk we're going to have today, please welcome Professor Sue Swearer. And finally, very, very pleased to invite to the stage a proud parent and a great person who understands and symbolizes all this. Please welcome David Bertko. And now what I'd like to do is to make sure that we're in the proper spirit for this, and so the court's in session. Lady Gaga, welcome. Let me ask the first question if I can.
I have no attorney today, so.
Sorry, you're just in trouble.
Do I have to oath?
We'll do this without the oath, just in case you go a little far
Okay.
afield, right?
Okay.
But tell us what you're trying to do, empowering youth and the whole idea of dealing with bravery. What is the goal of Born This Way?
The goal of the Born This Way Foundation is to challenge meanness and cruelty by inspiring young people to create a support system in their respective communities. So what this is all about is saying the power is in your hands. How can we come together with the greatest experts in the world, you, and come up with all of the amazing ways that we can inject love, acceptance, and tolerance into culture.
What's your sense in terms of your own background, having gone through this as a victim of violence yourself? What's your sense about how that message is going to be impacted by other people as well?
Well, one of the most important things that I wanted to bring up today is that there really is sort of a focus on the victim, right? But what I want to point out today, even though this is not an anti-bullying charity, is that the victim and the bully are on the same playing field. We're dealing in both senses with someone who's going through a tremendous amount of mental turmoil. And how do we say, you are both equal members of society, you are both equal members of culture? How do we not just save the victim, but also save the bully? How do we prevent the tragedies before they happen? I want the Born This Way Foundation, through its 3 pillars of skills, safety, and opportunity, to come up with the greatest ways that we can to empower youth all over the world. And the first empowered youth is Alyssa.
Well, I want to start this session as we can. Alyssa, you want to ask the first question to Lady Gaga?
Okay. Lady Gaga, most of these kids are really self-conscious, and your goal is to empower youth. How can you help change the way kids feel about themselves? Because self-consciousness is something that's really deep-rooted.
It is really deep-rooted, and you know what? It's so interesting that you asked me that, because I can't tell you, that's probably the most frequently asked question that I get all the time from lots of young people. And the problem is that we don't have the answer. The answer to the question is, how do we create a support system around every single human being that can help you or help anyone build confidence in themselves by having friends, family, teachers that can really, really focus on the community and say, this person needs help, this person needs love, this person needs acceptance, this person needs tolerance. How can we foster one another's individuality? So it's a very big overarching issue. It's not as simple as saying, you know, be yourself, love who you are, which is something that I've learned because I toot that at my shows all the time, right? But it's not that simple. The answer is we have to work from the ground up and create a climate and an environment in schools where someone that feels self-conscious has someone walk up to them in the middle of class and say, you know, I really liked your essay. Little things like that, little acts of kindness, these are the things that are going to change culture.
Okay, now my next question kind of has two different parts. With all due respect, what makes you think you have all the answers to change such a big problem? And how would you like me, as a young person and the voice of the youth, to make a difference? It's really hard to be brave, as you know.
It is hard to be brave. And the answer is I don't have all these answers. In fact, I have very few. I'm someone that is very passionate, and what I would like for you to do is be just one of many examples. I would like for there to be many of you, Alyssa. I wish there were hundreds of you. You're a wonderful, wonderful girl, and my dream in the future would be to have someone like Alyssa in every school around the country, someone who can be an ambassador for the Born This Way Foundation, if you will. Someone that really monitors the climate of the school and can be a litmus test for violence, bullying, kindness, love, acceptance.
Thank you very much, Alyssa. Thank you, Lady Gaga. Dr. Chopra, you want to give us some questions you want to ask Lady Gaga about from the spiritual point of view? Would you like to know from her?
Well, do you think it's possible to move in the direction of a peaceful, just, sustainable, healthy, and happier world? And if so, what would it take?
You can answer any part of that.
Yes, I do believe it's possible, and I think it will take very little.
Well, it looks like you obviously see yourself as a global leader, so...
Well, you know, I know you want me to see myself as a global leader because I know you. I would like for everyone to see themselves as global leaders. I suppose that would be what I mean when I say you are all born superstars. When I say that it takes very little to change the world, I really mean that. I believe that if each one of us just transformed one small bit of ourselves to be a bit kinder, a bit more loving, a bit more tolerant of even the most minuscule thing, I believe it will be quite easy to change the world. The only problem is there's so damn many of us.
Thank you. Dr. Swear, you've done a lot of work on the psychology of some of these incidents. Questions you have for Lady Gaga?
Lady Gaga, as a licensed psychologist on this panel, it's really important for me that everybody here realizes the emotional turmoil that victims of bullying face, as well as the turmoil of those kids who are doing the bullying. I'd like to know from a psychological perspective, from a behavioral health perspective, from just a human perspective, do you think you're going to change the culture where kids are so cruel and mean sometimes that they often just aren't comfortable with being who they were born to be?
I don't think I'm going to. Certainly. You know, I would say that over time, what I would like to do, working with someone like yourself and working with all of the experts that I've become so excited to hear from, that I'm hoping that the world undergoes, or the culture rather, undergoes what I have recently learned to be a psychological autopsy. I would like to do a psychological autopsy on as many bullies and victims as possible. How do we understand what breeds hatred, what breeds anger, and what are the signs that a youth empowered like Alyssa can pick up on within the school environment and say, hey, something's not quite right. I'm really happy that you're here today because I recently have been doing some research on violence within schools, and something that I noticed in particular was that in the unfortunate tragedy of Columbine, there were actual very specific signs of violence and hatred even within their schoolwork. It ranged from bullying towards the perpetrators, as well as there being actual signs very early on of violent behaviors, violent messaging, violent tendencies in general. There was an essay written by one of the students that said, I have dreams that I X, Y, and Z, and the X, Y, and Z was a blueprint for the tragedy of the day. Why was there not a teacher that read that essay and said, something is wrong? Why was there not a student in that school that said there is violent behavior happening in the student body? Why was there not someone in Alyssa's school that said there is violent behavior happening to Jamie? These are the things that I want to really focus on from a scientific, psychological, and research perspective. I think that some of the answers really lie in us being more intelligent about the climate of society.
No, you just asked a question, Lady Gaga. Part of this is not just the bullying, it's also the bravery. How do we get to the bravery from your point of view?
Yes, of course. Well, again, thank you for pointing that out. This, again, is not focused around bullying. The bravery aspect is I want for young people to know that they have the power. Jeez, I'm terrible at that. I'm not used to doing it with the little mic here. I'm used to it being here or here, you know. How can we inspire young people to know that they have the power to be brave, to be the one to say there is a problem here, I'm noticing that there's an issue. How can it become cool to be the kid that says something's not quite right? For whatever reason, there is a sort of blinder of, I go to class, I do my homework, I get my work done, I hand it in to my teacher, I leave, I go hang out with kids after school. There needs to be attention that is paid to looking for signs and being an aware person that wants to be safe, wants to have the skills to be loved, to love, to accept, to be accepted, to be tolerant, to foster individuality, and know that the opportunity is yours to change.
Thank you. This fits right in with David Burker. No one can be braver than what he's had to experience as a young man and as a father, a parent of 2 children. David, you want to ask us some questions, particularly about the bravery context, the braver world?
Right. Lady Gaga, I'm a big proponent of you and what you do, and as an out gay husband, father of twins, and a teen that was bullied relentlessly, I don't need much coaching on coaxing to appreciate your point of view. But how do you plan on getting your message to the large segments of the population that are not so open-minded?
That's a very good question. Well, right now we are working with Blue State Digital, which is one organization that we are partnering with to work on creating a social media environment that really fosters these ideas. And we are also working with many new experts on generating, I don't like the word programs. Let me think of another.
Sessions?
Awareness, gatherings, gatherings, summit, organized meetings. The Born Brave bus is an example of a place where I would like people to convene, where they can talk about these sorts of things. I want it to become cool to be aware about life, be aware about society, be aware about violence. In particular, in your case specifically, I want it to be part of the natural fabric of schooling, that someone knows that it is not okay to be intolerant of your children. It is not okay to be unaccepting. It is not okay to be violent because you don't understand.
Also, one of my concerns is making sure my children always feel safe to be themselves, but it's not always easy. So how are you or the foundation going to make childhood a safer place, given all the social networking tools out there to make children feel unsafe or vulnerable?
Well, I'm not going to.
You are. Me, my children.
You are. The point of the foundation is to say, parents, kids in school, we need to go from the bottom up, but the model is you. It's okay to say, you can't use that website, or you shouldn't be on that program, or this kind of language is inappropriate, or stay away from. Educating your kids about social media today is as important as anything. And unfortunately, which is so interesting, I was reading about all of the statistics in relation to bullying. People think that cyberbullying is like, the major thing that's happening right now, and truthfully, it's really not. It's the most visible because you can copy and paste something and view it, but the worst bullying that you can experience is face-to-face, on the street, in school. So I believe, truthfully, that it is about the parents really, really being strong and very, very direct with their kids about what it means to be loving and accepting. If you teach your kids to love everyone and be accepting of everyone, hopefully that will over time branch out. But the truth is that there is really no one answer, and there is no law that can be passed. I wish there was, because I'd be chained naked to a fence somewhere trying to pass it.
But how will you get to the parents?
Well, how will I get to the parents? The foundation aims to spread this message of love and acceptance and bravery as much as we can through the kids, through the bus, through Blue State Digital and media, and we're continuing to develop ideas with all of the different experts that we're working with. So the idea is that this really isn't an overnight thing. This is a cultural change and movement that's meant to be transformative and take place over time, and it could be 50 years from now, but if I'm dead, I don't give a shit. I just hope it happens. I just hope it happens.
I know there's some people here in the audience who've left their labs and left their offices, who are the researchers, who are doing very important work that's going to influence this. What's your message to the researchers? What would you like them to do, and why are they so important to what you're trying to do?
Give me all your information. I'd like for all of you to know that you are the most valuable asset to all of us, and this foundation is not a closed forum. I'm not excited about being the best foundation in the world. It's not about that. I want to work with as many of you as I can. Use me. Use me. If you discover something tremendous, if the research that you're doing is leading a particular study in a different direction, help us to understand what we can do on a completely grassroots level to spread that message. I really believe that so much of the Born This Way Foundation is about information. People don't have the information, and if we don't have the information, we can't spread the message.
I'm going to go to Secretary Sebelius in just a minute, but I want to go back to Dr. Swearer in the sense from the psychological point of view. What would you like Lady Gaga to be thinking about? What's the next question you want to present to her?
Yeah, I mean, what will the Born This Way Foundation do to kind of bring light to, really, you talked about the mental anguish that all kids involved in, you know, aggressive and mean behavior experience. So,
well, I will probably pull you aside after and ask you. You know, the truth is that we don't have all the answers, and what we're looking to do is bring someone like yourself and psychologists worldwide together to figure out the best way to formulate a system, a criteria. Right now, the messaging is love, acceptance, bravery. We have SSO, which is for skills, for safety, for opportunity. But we are going to delve further into this issue and figure out all of the ways that we can develop a psychological checklist, if you will. Mm-hmm. Mental turmoil is very serious. It comes in so many different forms. Depression being one of them. Depression's probably one of the most widespread forms of turmoil that many of us experience. I really want to become as educated as I can about the issue, but more importantly, I think the more kids that I can get to eat hamburgers and talk about it outside my show, I really think, you know, it sounds small, but over time, I feel that it will be very big.
We're very fortunate to have the Secretary of Health and Human Services.
Yes, we are.
And there's a lot from the government, a lot on policy. Secretary?
Well, I think that the question, Lady Gaga, that you were just talking about with kids, you know, one of the things, and Dr. Swearer probably knows this a lot better than I do, but that the research says is that a friend intervening, a person intervening in a bullying situation is enormously powerful. It often shuts it down. And, you know, when I listen to you talking about the safety and skills and opportunity, how can we, you, all of us, convince kids how powerful they really are, that they really have the power to stop something that they don't like to see, that they don't like going on? What can we do to reach out to every kid?
I think it's about messaging. I think that it's about being innovative in the way that we use technology. I also believe that this idea that, you know, creating a sense of acceptance within the classroom is the sort of thing that will inspire someone to say, hey, quit beating up on so-and-so. You know, that was a little bit much. Back off a little bit, or telling a teacher. It's going to take a really long time, and if anyone knows how to get a message out there, it's me. So
Hear, hear.
I guess I sort of have this feeling that if I can, you know, make a song called Just Dance really big all over the world, I might be able to make a song that's, you know, just be nice. I know that I keep giving you the same answers to almost all of your questions, but you know, I kind of am doing that on purpose, and I'll explain why. I remember when, well, I don't remember because I wasn't alive yet, but I'm obsessed with John Lennon and Yoko Ono. And they would say, give peace a chance. And the reporters would shove microphones in their faces and say, explain. And they would just cuddle and say, no. But what do you mean by give peace a chance? Give it a chance. It seems so utopian and naive, but you know, it's like a good pop hook. It grabs you right away and it makes you want to move. That's what this is all about. A simple idea that I truly believe the world will be a better place and it won't be so difficult to do so. Just come together, tell a friend, do your part, and something wonderful will happen.
Well, my understanding is you have about 20 million fans on Twitter, so you can tell a fan a lot stronger than a lot of us can. You talked a little bit about cyberbullying being at least one of the aspects. That's unfortunately a new phase of bullying that wasn't really there when my kids were growing up. It's a whole new way to channel unfortunate hate and disrespect toward one another, but there's also a really powerful social medium that can surround people with love and support. How can you use the social media networks that you have, and clearly the enormous global leader reach that you have, right? Global leader, because you can do this, you can touch people all over the world right now. How does that work for the positive, and how can we all channel that for the positive?
Well, you know, I truly believe I have so many followers on Twitter just because I write nice stuff. I know it sounds so simple, but I just, you know, I don't whine, I don't make fun of anybody. I'm just really happy to be here, honestly. Really happy to be here making music, and I really appreciate anyone that likes my music. So sometimes I think that all of those followers are coming from a place of, you know, everyone likes to get a nice message once a day that says, be yourself, you know, go seize the day. But I do, of course, with all of those followers, I also sometimes get really hateful messages, a tremendous amount of hateful messages, but I don't talk about them because, you know, why give it energy? And on top of that, I always have a moment of empathy when I read it. I think to myself, man, they must really be going through something today. To write something so, I mean, between, I don't even want to tell you what they say because they're sometimes just so violent, but the truth is that's also coming from a place of insecurity. That's coming from a place of mental turmoil. That's coming from a place of someone that's having a psychological challenge. And I'm not the answer. Me writing, you know, be a nice person is not going to do anything. Well, what's going to make the change is me as a person, or you, or you, or you, or anyone. Ignore the negativity and stay positive. And when you see someone being negative to somebody else, it's okay to intervene and stand up for someone that needs it. It's all about being a support system for humankind. I don't believe that one person can change the world. I believe that humankind as a whole can change the world.
Thank you so much. I've followed not quite your path with these hate messages. I always respond, thank you very much, may God bless you, and they never write again.
See?
It works, right? We're going to change a little bit here. We're going to take 3 questions from the audience. And let me say before I do that, that a really good question has less than 8 words in it. So you've got time to think about it, edit it, and come up here. We're going to have the mic right there in the light. So the first 3 people, come on around, yellow, 2, go to this end. 4 people, come on young lady, you were there. Yeah, you're right back there. And don't ask about her best album, or it has to be about Born This Way Foundation.
See, I just did what Oprah said. I just leaned over to Deepak and said, am I doing okay? It's so true.
question is...
Say your name, too.
Oh, my name's Ramsey.
From?
From Cambridge.
I'm sorry, your name?
Ramsey.
Ramsey.
My question is, why this? Out of every good thing you could do in the world, why this?
It just sort of fell right in my lap. I don't know how to explain it. I put out Born This Way, I put out the album, and it was like the influx of dialogue and conversation was more massive than anything. It was the thing that I experienced the most. I can't even begin to tell you, well, I mean, there's a couple people here even today that these fans have traveled all around the world because they believe in this cause, and it's something that I naturally, my music speaks to it, and for whatever reason, this cause just sort of, it sits right here and it doesn't move. And I don't know how to explain it. It just, wherever I go, make the world a better place, make people more loving, make people more, it's always with me, and I have to do it. I can't tell you where I got my nerve from, but I believe that if you have revolutionary potential, you must make the world a better place and use it.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Zachary Kerr, and I'm from Methuen. I go to Methuen High School.
Hi, Zachary.
Hi. Well, I wanted to know, what does the Born This Way Foundation, what are they going to do about programs and things that are already in place to empower youth? Like, I'm also transgender, female to male, and at my school we have a really strong GSA. What would the Born This Way Foundation do to support other GSAs and the other programs like that that are already empowering youth?
We're going to do everything that we can to support those existing organizations and make sure that they know that we wholeheartedly want to either partner with them or join forces, learn about everything that they're doing, and make that part of what we're doing. We don't want to exclude anyone. We want to be extremely knowledgeable about every organization that's out there. And by the way, you look great.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Alex. I'm from Littleton, Massachusetts, about 45 minutes away from here. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Alex.
Hi.
I'm great. How are you?
Great. I'm great, thank you. So my question is to you and also to some of the experts we have on stage. What is the best way that we can teach students the tools they need to intervene in instances of bullying? Because as we've said, it's not easy, but how do we go from there? We've identified the issue. We've got a lot of people wanting to help out. How do we teach students to do it?
I'm going to pass this off to our psychologist.
Dr. Schwer?
Well, I think we need to start with parent training, and teacher training, and school administrator training, so that the adults in our system can support the youth movement and can support youth in all of these initiatives. We know that if adults in our system aren't kind and nice, then it's going to be harder for our youth to be. So we have to be role models.
Can I push back on that a little?
Yep.
I love you, but I'm just, you know. I don't think that works. I don't think it works. I don't know that teachers even give a shit, some of them. Not the ones in this room, obviously. Obviously. What I want is for Alyssa, as the, our resident youth empowered today, I want for someone like Alyssa to be the person that intervenes, or the person that talks to other students about intervening. It's not that I don't believe that parents are capable or that I believe that teachers are capable. It's just that we've been talking about this for so long and it's not working.
Three really good ingredients here. You have somebody who can reach critical mass not only heard of people like Oprah and many others who can reach critical mass, and that's what it takes to create transformation. You have all the information that's necessary, the tools, and most importantly, you have people like Alyssa and others who can tell stories of success.
Yes.
And if you have stories of success and you create the conversation, you reach critical mass. You've made it easy.
Well, that's the phone a friend method. That's a great one. Alyssa, would it be possible for you to explain a little bit about what you do at your school?
At my school, I try to set an example, because without an example, kids don't know what to do. Because kids are very impressionable, especially at young ages and especially at our age. And if one kid could set an example, then the rest will follow.
On behalf of all of us, Lady Gaga, we're very pleased that you are here. You're very pleased you have Born This Way Foundation, the important work that you're doing. There's legislation we need to talk about. There's the idea of you. We've already selected her as the next UN ambassador on this issue, right? Do we have a vote? So there's a way to carry this to the next place. And my question is this. It's not just a foundation. It's not just an organization. It seems to me this is, as you said before, a movement.
Yes.
Dr. King had a civil rights movement in the 40s, 50s, and 60s.
I was warned
right?
against calling it a foundation.
You wanted to call it the movement, right? But it is a foundation.
Well, you know, I didn't want to be too.
So where does it go from here? What's your sense? All these folks need some assignments, some responsibilities. What do you want us to do this day forward?
I like Deepak's message. Phone a friend. Tell somebody in your life. Tell someone important to you or someone that you don't know. Tell them about love and acceptance and tolerance. Tell them about acquiring skills and feeling safe where they are, knowing that opportunity is at their fingertips. Call upon yourself to know that you are great. Call upon yourself to know that it's not going to be just the experts or the umbrella that's above us that's going to change things. It's going to be all of you. I really hope today that what everyone walks away with is a sense of happiness and bravery, a light outlook on the future and life. Sometimes, especially within our politics and economy, things can feel very, very difficult. We're in a time where it's very cynical. It's very confusing. The very little things that you can do on a daily basis to make a more loving impact on the people in your life. These are the very small things that you can do, and I'm going to do everything that I can to call all of the greatest people that I know that can reach out to the universe and say, I am loving, I am accepting, I am tolerant, and I am here to spread that message.
Okay. The website is bornthiswayfoundation.org. We hope you'll take a look at it and continue your questions and dialogues so we can make some progress.
And please email us and tell us your stories. Please share with us your experiences so that we can have all of the information. We want to know what it is that you feel would help. So
now,
please.
I want to bring Lady Gaga's mother back up to the stage as we conclude, but also want to, if you would join me in thanking all of our panelists for their great comments today. This part of the board session is closed. It's your floor.
That's something I want to say. Can everybody hear us? Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Okay. Yes? Okay. We want to thank you so much, and I also want to say that this is the beginning, really, of a journey that we will all take together. The two of us can't go it alone, which is why we need your help. I want to very much thank the partners that we have engaged with this foundation. I'd like to thank Connie Yao from the MacArthur Foundation. I'd like to thank Dr. Ross from the California Endowment. And I'd like to thank John Palfrey and Dana Boyd from the Berkman Center. We are not philanthropists. My daughter and I are not philanthropists. We don't profess to be. This is about harnessing one another and leveraging best practices in this space.
We're not philanthropists, but we're good friends.
We're good friends. No, but we hope to leverage her reach and vision with the best practices of these wonderful organizations, as well as yourself and your extended communities, your schools, and so on, and do this together. So thank you so very much.
This is like the biggest dream come true for my mother and I. This is our first collaboration.
But I also want I also want to please ask you to check the website. We will be rolling out, I don't know, you don't like to say programs, but some very, very specific programs to help you.
Program sounds like school.
It does, but we have
parties.
A very unique model that will be online. We're creating a digital movement on the road with the bus and down the street that will be coming to you, soon in the future. So the concept really is that our services
are everywhere,
and a friendly ear will be available to you no matter where you are.
So thank you very much, and we love you, and have an evening of love, acceptance, and tolerance. And my mom and I are going to go have some wine and celebrate because it was such a success.